an independent analysis of European defense capabilities and strategic policy.
The authorization of €8.77 billion by the Italian legislature is more than a budget line item. It marks a definitive structural transition in Rome's defense posture. The Global Combat Air Program has shifted from a tentative diplomatic memorandum to a binding pillar of national industrial strategy. This financial commitment represents roughly half of the projected total development cost for Italy through 2035. It signals that the nation is no longer merely procuring a replacement for the Eurofighter Typhoon. Instead, it is attempting to secure its status as a primary architect of aerospace systems rather than a Tier 2 supplier. The decision to pursue a sixth-generation platform alongside the United Kingdom and Japan, rather than integrating into the Franco-German Future Combat Air System, reflects a calculated assessment. It is an assessment of industrial workshare and sovereign control over critical technologies. From a systems engineering perspective, the program represents a departure from the procurement logic that governed the acquisition of the F-35 Lightning II. While Italy hosts the final assembly and checkout facility for the F-35 in Cameri, the intellectual property and source codes governing the aircraft remain opaque to Italian engineers. This effectively renders Italy a sophisticated operator rather than a design authority. The Global Combat Air Program intends to rectify this dependency. It aims to ensure that Italian industry, led by Leonardo and Aeronautica, retains design authority over the integrated sensing and non-kinetic effects, or ISANKE, domain. In modern air warfare, the platform serves primarily as a node for data fusion and electronic warfare. Consequently, control over the sensor suite and mission system is arguably more valuable than the airframe itself. This focus on the brain of the aircraft suggests that Rome prioritizes technological sovereignty in electronics and cyber-physical systems as the primary return on investment. The establishment of the GCAP International Government Organization, or GIGO, introduces a complex layer of transnational governance. This will test the administrative capacity of the Italian Ministry of Defense. While the headquarters is situated in the United Kingdom, the distribution of industrial responsibilities requires a seamless integration of supply chains across three distinct regulatory environments. The challenge lies not only in the technical harmonization of British, Italian, and Japanese engineering standards, it also lies in the alignment of strategic timelines. The target entry into service of 2035 imposes a rigid development schedule. It leaves little margin for the friction often associated with multinational defense programs. Past experiences with the Tornado and Eurofighter consortiums demonstrate that political divergence often translates into technical delays. This risk is amplified here by the inclusion of Japan, a partner with a vastly different industrial culture and legal framework regarding defense exports compared to European norms. The exportability of the platform emerges as a critical variable in the long-term sustainability of the Italian defense budget. The projected development cost of approximately 18 to 20 billion euro is substantial for a defense budget that traditionally struggles to meet the NATO target of 2% of GDP. For the program to remain fiscally viable without cannibalizing funding for the Army or naval expansion, the aircraft must achieve significant export success. This is necessary to amortize development costs and reduce the unit price. This creates a potential strategic mismatch. On one side, Italy's traditional export markets in the Middle East and North Africa. On the other, Japan's historically restrictive arms export policies. Although Tokyo has relaxed certain guidelines, the veto power inherent in the trilateral structure means that a refusal by Japan to sanction a sale to a specific customer could paralyze Italy's ability to monetize the investment. So this introduces a fragility in the business model where external diplomatic factors could undermine the economic logic of the entire program. Operationally, the introduction of the new platform will necessitate a transformation in the force structure of the Aeronautica Militare. The fleet is expected to operate in a high-low mix alongside the F-35 fleet, which will likely serve as the primary penetration asset until the new system matures. However, the definition of the new aircraft as a system of systems implies that it will function as a mothership for unmanned loyal wingmen and effectors. This requires not just a new airframe, but a complete overhaul of the command and control architecture to support cloud combat capabilities. The financial burden of developing these ancillary systems and the associated secure network infrastructure is often underrepresented in the headline development figures. This suggests that the true life cycle cost of the capability may be significantly higher than current projections indicate. The industrial implications of this commitment extend beyond the aerospace sector to the broader Italian high-technology ecosystem. By anchoring the development of advanced materials, artificial intelligence for pilot assistance, and high-power electrical generation in domestic firms, the program acts as a state-directed industrial policy. It forces a consolidation of expertise and capital within national champions like Leonardo. This potentially crowds out smaller players or redirects research and development funds away from dual-use technologies that do not serve the immediate needs of the combat air program. This concentration of resources reflects a strategic bet that the defense sector will remain a primary driver of technological innovation in the coming decades. It is a hypothesis that depends heavily on the continued relevance of manned tactical aviation in an era increasingly dominated by long-range missiles and autonomous systems. Furthermore, the decision to proceed with this program implies a tacit acceptance of the risks associated with distinct supply chain vulnerabilities. Unlike the Eurofighter, which relied on a localized European supply base, this program necessitates a logistical bridge to the Indo-Pacific. And in the event of a global crisis disrupting maritime trade routes or secure data links between Europe and Japan, the collaborative development model could face severe disruption. This geographic dispersion creates a resilience challenge that defense planners must address through redundant manufacturing capabilities or stockpiling of critical components. Such measures would further inflate the program cost. The allocation of €8.77 billion also imposes an opportunity cost on other modernization priorities. The Italian Army faces pressing needs for the renewal of its heavy armor and infantry fighting vehicles, specifically the replacement of the Dardo and the upgrade of the Ariete. Simultaneously, the Navy continues its expansion to secure the enlarged Mediterranean. Prioritizing the air domain with such a massive injection of capital suggests a doctrinal shift towards air superiority and deep strike capabilities as the primary instruments of national power projection. It raises the question of whether land and naval programs will face delays or descoping to accommodate the fiscal demands of the air program. This potentially unbalances the joint force structure. Ultimately, the trajectory of the global combat air program serves as a litmus test for Italy's ambition to remain a Tier 1 military power. The technical and financial barriers to entry for sixth-generation air combat systems are so high that failure would likely result in the permanent loss of the capacity to design complex combat aircraft. and this would relegate the national industry to a subcontractor role for American or Franco-German primes. The path forward involves navigating a narrow corridor between the imperative of technological autonomy and the realities of fiscal constraints and alliance politics. The success of the endeavor will be measured not just by the aerodynamic performance of the eventual aircraft. It will be measured by the ability of the Italian state to manage the intricate web of diplomatic, industrial, and economic trade-offs that this €18 billion wager entails. The commitment is now absolute. The structural consequences for the Italian defense apparatus will be felt for the next half-century.